Hey there. I figured out the VPN stuff. Finally, figured out what I needed to do, but I need to change everybody's account. But the issue was how the accounts were being set up on the domain controller, and I just figured that out just before my previous class, so I didn't have time to change everybody's account yet. I'm still changing them one at a time, and I want to check, but it looks like it's working pretty well, and everybody should be able to get access via VPN. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? We should be able to get access to everybody via VPN to the lab without using NAT. Now, here's a problem that I encountered with the network address translation method. I sent you all out an email. Oh, here we go. Sent you all out an email that says, hey, you can access the servers via network address translation. And I thought that would work just fine. But let me show you what happens, or what was happening when I was testing after I was playing around with it some. So I thought I was smart and said, okay, you can go to https://192.138.194.45:, and I gave all the servers in particular translated port numbers. Server 2 is 9002. Server 3 is 9003. Server 4 is 9004. So you could go do this. You could go log in. In fact, everybody, were you able to check? And you should notice, by the way, in the grade center, you're assigned a team number now. Do you guys all see your team number? In the grade center, it should have the team number that you're on. And I'll create a master spreadsheet. I used to have each team communicate with each other, but that's going to be difficult because, you know, we're not seeing face to face. So I'll create a master spreadsheet. What I need everybody to do, and I will make this, I don't want you to email me. What I'll do is I'm going to add an assignment right after class here, which will be a simple assignment that you're going to go in and you're going to tell me what your Gmail account address name is. You know, profjake@gmail.com, whatever your Google account, whatever that you log into Google with. Okay, it may not be gmail.com, but it usually is. So whatever you log in with Google, don't give me your password. I don't need your password. I just need the user ID that you use. And 1 second. Just trying to help somebody out. A minute ago there. Okay, and then you'll see that you're on a particular team. I'll share a document with you. That's why I want you to send me your Gmail. So hopefully everybody's using Google Drive. If you're not, it's just a website you go to. And I'll share that document with your preferred Google account. If you have more than one Google account, just give me the one you prefer to have it shared with. Mine is profjake@gmail.com. By the way, for those of you that want to know. Now, I thought I was really cool. I thought I got this working just fine in terms of the translation. So here I'm going to log into server 2. Let me minimize this. Can you guys all see my screen okay? 397PROXMOX $. I'm logged in. You're going to always get that warning, by the way. Great. I can see I created that container. If I go click on local, you can see that I have on there CentOS 7 minimal. So there's an ISO for you to build a VM from, and there's a couple of Ubuntu templates for you to build virtual machines from. Hey, 1 second. Okay. Here's the problem, though. And the way this is working, by the way, and the reason this is working is I put a network address translation.
Yeah,
Hello?
it's unfortunate.
Who's talking? Shauna, Shara? I hear somebody talking. Turn off the
Background audio. Sorry.
That's okay. No problem. So I made a translation. So this is actually pointing to, ignore all the stuff past the 9002, but that's actually pointing to 192.168.10.200:8006 with network address translation. Here's a problem, and I thought that was going to work, but the problem was I tried to remote view. Let me minimize this. I tried to remote view this machine I created by clicking on console and clicking on either one. I said you could use either one, so I'm clicking on external. And I get this error. Oh, wait a minute, now it's working. I swear to God, it wasn't working the other day. You know what, it might be working only because I've got VPN running. Let me double check that. I want to make sure I'm not VPN'd into the EI lab right now. I guess I'm not. I guess it's working. I thought it wasn't working. Maybe I was having an issue with something else. So I want everybody to try this. Go to this URL, 192.138.194.45:9002. That might not be your team, but that's okay. I want you to go to this one first and go try to log in. Again, the login, the username is root, and the password is, I'm going to type it here so you can see it in clear text, MIS4397 PROXMOX $. Type that down here in the password field. Don't change anything else. So can you guys all get logged in? Okay, then try to move over here, click the little arrow for Proxmox so that it expands this. Highlight 201 there, come over here to console. Pull that down and choose Xterm. It's working. Okay, well, maybe some of the stuff, it wasn't working last night and I changed some other stuff today, and so maybe it's working now because of that. Let's try the next one. 38.20.200:8,000. No, not 8006. Always the same IP address. :9003, which would be server 3. If this is working, that's great. Then you can all get to work. So try logging into the server that you were allocated. 9002 34567 MIS 397 PROXMOX $. And even though there's no containers, or there are a couple of containers here that were built, you should be able to always do this. If you want a shell to the server, and I normally don't recommend that you do this, but I want to see maybe what's on the Proxmox itself, not the containers or VMs. So I'm going to highlight Proxmox 3 here. I'm going to click on shell and go to Xterm. See if that will open. Yeah, that's where I'm getting a failure. any of these containers work? Who built these containers? Are you here, Sam? Let's start one of these and see if it works. Yeah, that's that no ticket. That was the error I was getting earlier. So right now, apparently I am able to talk to Proxmox 2. It's asking me to log back in again. Yeah, so this has something to do with the network address translation. It doesn't work that well with Proxmox, or I don't have it set up right. So that's what I was running into last night, but I did get the VPN working for my account. So now I just need to change something so that it works with everybody else's accounts. So that's what I was in the middle of working on. But what I'm going to want you guys to do, let me go ahead and I'm going to VPN in, and then once the VPN is working, so if it works for you, that's great. If it works, and maybe I can only be on one at a time. Maybe that's the issue. That might be what it is. You might only be able to be on one server at a time. So anyway, if you're able to log into your server and you can get a shell to your server, let me log out. Actually, let me close all of, see, I'm still logged in there. That's probably what's going on. I can only see one at a time. So if you can get into your server and you can get this shell window, first of all, be very careful with what you're doing because you are the root user, so you can mess up the server. I want you to add yourself as a user to Proxmox. So first of all, let's go Google for how to do that. And I'll send out an email. I was about to send out an email on this, but I didn't because I wanted to get the networking working better first. New window, there we go. Just trying to open up a Chrome window. How to add users to Proxmox. User management. There's a couple different ways to add users to Proxmox, okay? This is basically the way I want you to do it. Scroll down to right here. As Proxmox VE users are just counterparts for users existing on some external realm or some external system, you already have to have a user created somewhere else, not on the Proxmox. In other words, have a user created in Linux. So Proxmox is just an application running on Linux. So you're going to open your shell, you're going to recognize that you're root. So you're going to be careful with what you're doing. You're only going to do what I tell you to do or what you've thoroughly researched, you know, in terms of like creating directories or anything. PWD, for example, that tells me I'm in the junk directory, in the backup one. I'm going to add myself as a user. There's a file called password. If I use the less command, by the way, that just lists out the contents of a file. /etc/PASSWD. If you do that, actually, I'm not going to use less, I'm going to use cat. Spit it all out on the screen. Cat space /etc/PASSWD. That gives me a list of all of the users in the password file, and you'll notice that there is no user for you in the password file yet. You're going to add yourself. User add Jake. Okay. I just decided I'm going to use my name Jake. You can use whatever name you want. Make it all lowercase. User add space Jake. I've just added a user called Jake. Now if I list that password file out, you'll see there's a user at the bottom of the file here called Jake. I need to set a password for Jake. PASSWD space Jake. Don't forget to put the name in. Enter a password. You're not going to see any text when you type in a password. If you did it correctly, if you typed it in the same way both times, it'll say the password is updated successfully. Okay, pretty easy so far, right? Now it wants you to add yourself to a particular group. We don't need to worry about that. We have a user now called Jake. Now you're going to go back to your Proxmox. $9,002 in my case. You're going to come here to users. Make sure the data center is highlighted, not the name of the node, but the name data center. Because users actually exist across all of the nodes in a cluster. You scroll down here, you'll notice that there is no entry for users. So click on data center, click on users. You'll notice there's only one user called root. You're going to add yourself, Jake. You can optionally put in your first and last name and your email address. It doesn't have to be your Gmail address. It can be whatever you want the server to communicate with you on. Group, I'm not going to specify any group here. I haven't set up any. This is a Proxmox user. Now you'll notice what's missing from here is no place to set a password. That's because it's not relying on Proxmox to determine the authentication part of it. This is just a pointer. So that user already has to exist in Linux because we're using this realm, this Linux password authentication manager. Whatever. You can click advanced if you want. There's nothing underneath there we need to do, and we'll click add. Okay, so now Jake is a user. Let's go back to the user management for a second here. I'm going to minimize that. Now that the user's added, we can make that user, we can add him to different groups. Different roles. So we've already got this role called administrator. Let's create a group. We'll call it admins. Hi. Oh, those are built in. We don't want to change any of those. We don't need to do any of this. We've already got a different administrator. You can, the only reason I'm showing you this is to show you how you could create a special type of grouping of users to give people only certain access if you wanted them to have certain access. They've changed it up a little bit. That's why I'm reading this. So we want to basically make your user an admin. Okay, here's a real world example. This is what I was looking for. Now, this is the way we could do it on the command line. I much prefer the command line, so that's why I do it on the command line. So I added a user called Jake. PVEUM. This stands for Proxmox Virtual Environment User Management Group Admin. Did I already add one called admins? I think I did. Oh, that's CentOS. Can't do it in CentOS. Oh, you know what I just did? I added myself to CentOS. I did not add myself to Proxmox. That's why that wasn't working. Duh. I want a shell to that. That's where I want the shell. Excuse me, guys. I just added myself as a user in my virtual machine, which really does nothing for me. Notice I'm using a little bit different command. I'm using add user instead of user add. Add user does the name and the password all at one time. Excuse me, trying to get both these screens up at the same time. There we go. Okay, so I use the Linux add user command or user add. So if you did user add, it simply adds the name and then you have to use password. Or you can use add user, which is actually a script that runs user add and adds those other things for you, including the password. PVEUM. I just hit enter. Okay, so yeah, we know we're in Proxmox now. PVEUM group add admins. Okay, so now we've got admins. PVEUM ACL mod. We're modifying the list. / group admin. And only one person has to do this part on your team. So if you try doing this and it gives you an error like it already exists, that means somebody else did it already for you. I think I called it admins, not admin. There we go. I called it admins, not admin. I just changed the name of it. And then I want to add my user, user mod, Jake at PVE. You need to put the at PVE there. Excuse me, admins. Huh? I don't need to put PV. Maybe I don't need to put Jake at PVE. Excuse me, it's not working like it's supposed to work. There we go. I just did it from there. Okay, so I've created that group admins. I think I actually have multiple groups because I created one called admin and one called admins. Oh, there's one called uppercase admins and lowercase admins. That's not good. Let's get rid of one of those. Let's just have lowercase admins. Okay, there we go. And Jake is a member of lowercase admins, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he is. And then what roles does that group have? Yeah, so admins are administrators based on that command there. I'm using the up arrow, by the way, to scroll back between different commands. Now, maybe this is, maybe I didn't go over this really well. I'll type all this in a document. It actually is already in a document from previous semesters. But I don't want to log in as root anymore. Let's see if I can log in as Jake instead. Okay, so now I'm logged in as user Jake, not user root. That's better. It says I'm Jake at PAM. Oh, it's PAM, not PVE. I should be able to do all the same stuff I did before because I'm an admin. Nope, that's not it. This is one of my virtual machines. This is not Proxmox. Okay, so if you can create your own user, and again, I know I wasn't very clear on how to do that, but if you can create your own user on your Proxmox, then I want you to create your first container. Let's start with container instead of VM. So you're going to click on create container. I'll just create another one on this team 2 here. I'm going to call it container ID 202. I'll call it Ubuntu Jake. I'll make it an Ubuntu 20. How about that? Just taking the defaults here. I guess just make it a small one, 512. Change that to DHCP. Not going to worry about that. Not going to worry about that. So the only thing that I changed was I changed from static to DHCP. Looks like it's done already. I'll try to get a console to it. It's not running yet.
So the password that we're entering when we're creating a container, is that the one that we're using to log in?
It's whatever you want to make it, as long as you remember it.
Okay.
You can make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you want. That's up to you. That's why it's asking for it twice. You're creating a new password. I go ahead and start it first. Make sure it starts up okay. And you notice when you're making changes now, it says down here the username is Jake, not root. There we go. Now I'm in this Ubuntu container. Root. Okay, so that's working there, and then this container is hopefully working here. I'm just doing this so I can show you that I've got 2 different virtual machines running at the same time on the same server. And they're operating independently of each other. They both have different IP addresses. You type an IP address, it'll tell what your IP address is. This one's 192.168.10.15, and this one is 192.168.10.27. So you guys think you can get that done by Monday, especially if I send you out an email on more specifically how to add yourself as a user. And then try not to log in as root anymore. You can log into your containers as root. You'll notice I'm the root user. Who am I? I'm the root user there, but I'm not the root user here. I am Jake at Pam. Okay. Let me see, chat window question. You're talking about adding users? Yeah, that's what I should have done, is just search for real world examples. And again, this is on my Blackboard page. If you were to go to Blackboard and search back through some of the content, this is all stuff that we've done in previous semesters. Mm-hmm. There we go, it's right there, adding users to Proxmox. So it's basically what I just did. So add user, in this example, it was JMessenger. Then I created a group called System Administrators. The reason you have to do that on the command line is because there wasn't a way to do it in the GUI. And then create, actually we could have added a group called System Administrators, but we couldn't have done this. This thing we could not have done in the GUI. Not sure why. Maybe it's a security issue. But I had to execute that on the command line. And then I modified the user. You could have done that here, or you could have done that in the Proxmox GUI, adding Jake to the group of admin or admins. Now, if you don't add yourself to admins, if you just create your username of Jake, you can log into Proxmox, but you can't do anything. It would be kind of useless. So by Monday, and again, the VPN doesn't have to be working, but I've almost got it working. I've got it working to where it'll work for my username and password. I just need to figure out what makes my account different from y'all's account and change whatever I need to change on the domain controller. Let me just show you really quickly what I had to do to make the VPN work on the computer side, on the laptop side. Change adapter options. I'm just trying to get to this. EILab VPN. Let me go to the properties. This is what we had to change on it. That's the same IP address, that external IP. Nothing else is different here. Under options, under the VPN properties, set that to 30 minutes. You can set that to remember credentials if you want. Change the security, layer 2 tunneling, that was the same. Let's see, allow these protocols, MS CHAP. That's all the same. Advanced settings, need to make sure disk 2020 was there. I think before, when I was showing you guys yesterday, we had not ticked that box. You have to allow these protocols. I think by default that's not on. It's probably that. We need to change it to that. And you can enable both of those. Don't bother enabling PAP. It's not going to work. So don't check that. Just check those two boxes. Make sure you've got the pre-shared key there. Don't need to worry about networking or sharing. Connect. Connect. It's going to ask you for your user ID, which is your student ID. And then the password. Completing the connection, and within about 30 seconds, it should be working to where you're on the EILab network. And the way you can test that is you can go to ipchicken.com, and you'll notice that the IP address changed to that. So you're no longer on your local network per se, and you should now be able to access, let me move this dumbass thing out of the way. You should now be able to access the servers internally with their internal IP address, 192.168.10.200:8006, not that externally translated address. So don't try this yet. Like I said, I need to fix the usernames and passwords. But by this evening, this will work because I did finally figure it out. So it's the username. I can log in as Jake. Failed. Must have fat fingered it. I'll log in as root just for now. I may not be able to log into it because I'm already logged in on another computer. In other words, I'm logged in over here as Jake. So let me log out over here. I must have changed my password. There we go. I'd forgotten I'd changed my password. Okay, so try this, guys. I think the issue that I was having before where I thought it wasn't working is because it looks like you can only log into one Proxmox at a time and have that work properly. You should only be logging into your Proxmox server. So do it the external method for now. 192.138.194.45:9002, 9003, 4567. Log in, add yourself as a user, add yourself as an admin, and then go create your first container. Again, if the template is not there yet, go click on Proxmox 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, go click on local, go click on content. If you don't see any content there, click on templates, scroll through this list and search for any of the popular distributions, either CentOS 8, which is fine, Ubuntu's fine, or Debian. I've never used Alpine before, so don't use those. Either use CentOS 8, Ubuntu 9, or Debian 8. Either one of those. Download one of those and create a container from it. See if you can get it created and working. I'll check in on this weekend. If you get stuck anywhere, send me an email. Okay, any questions about what I think you should be working on? If there's not any questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom meeting now and post this because we're behind on this. We should have had these created already. So I want you guys to concentrate on getting those containers created first. Don't even worry about playing around with them some unless you've got some time to play around with them. But get them created. Get used to creating them. Create 2 or 3 if you want. Okay. I'll post that assignment, like I said, so that you guys can email me your Google account, and I'll share that shared document with you on the IP addresses and all of that information. So, because we don't want anybody to step on anybody else. Okay, if there's not any other questions, I'll either see you guys via email or see you guys on Monday at 4 via Zoom, okay?
I have a question.
Yeah, what's the question?
So how do you know for the admin role? Like, so I created the one you post, the system administrator.
Uh-huh.
How do you know that account has like permission? Because I log into my account, but I still can't create a container.
Did you add yourself to the group called admins?
Yeah.
Did you give the admin group the permission?
I don't think so. But I put my name under the admin though.
Okay, so you're probably missing this part. PVEUMAC. This thing. Once you created the group admin, you have to give that group admin administrator privileges. You're probably missing that command right there. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen anymore. Excuse me. Let me reshare my screen again real quick. I lost Zoom. I can't find it on the screen anymore. Oh, there it is. Okay, as I was saying, you're probably missing this step here.
Oh, I created that. Oh no, that one they didn't let me use.
What do you mean they didn't let you use?
Like I get an error when I type that one in.
You have to log in as root. Well, what's the error? Log in as root first. Execute that on the command line of Proxmox. As long as you created a group called admin, that will work. Okay. Anyway, I need to get going. I got to answer a couple of questions here. So if you're still having trouble with it, send me an email.
Okay.
And I'll try to respond to those just immediately. Okay.
Okay.
All right. See you guys on Monday.